So today I want to talk about memory and to try to describe how important memory has been in my own journey. That a big change happened for me I suppose, in my early 30s, where I started to have these nostalgic memories for childhood. And there was this kind of yearning to return to something. And what I eventually realized, and it took me a while to figure this out, is that it wasn't about the content of the memory. That actually those memories were referring to a way of relating to life. In fact, all memory can teach us this, but it's much easier to see initially in the good memories, in the memories we're not resisting. That when we look back, when we remember something that happened in the past, something we're fond of, that you realize that from where you are now experiencing that memory, there's this sense of satisfaction or perfection within the memory, something that almost, if it was anything like me, wasn't there at the time. But see, the difference is with memory is when we experience a memory like that, a good memory, we're no longer resisting it. We're seeing it as something valuable, something precious. And it's not the contents itself. It's that change in the relationship as regards to how we experience that memory. That's the difference. And what this can do is, and what my, a big part of my own path was seeing how could I experience this in more like how I experienced things when those memories came. And the big thing obviously was to stop resisting. That as I could kind of move through life, there would be this constant state of resistance, this complete failure to appreciate what was happening, and that resistance wasn't there in those memories. And so learning to, and it wasn't because of the content that the resistance wasn't there. It's because of where it was my relationship. That the way I was relating to memory was very different than how I related to my normal experience. And it wasn't that there was something particularly special happening in that memory, that it was my relationship with both of those things. And it's because of that that those memories could act as a teacher, because there was no reason why I couldn't do the same with what was happening now. Because actually, what's happening now, just like a memory, has already happened. But the only difference is there's this kind of sense of resistance. And so learning to not do that. And it's through releasing that resistance that then I can begin to appreciate what's actually there. I can see how precious what's there, what's here is. Because, of course, as I've said, that wasn't something I would have been experiencing when I had when those memories were created. That some of my fondest memories, I'm pretty certain that at the time there was a lot going on internally. There was a lot of thinking going on, and thinking about what was going to be happening next, and did I like what was happening. There would have been this ongoing dialogue in the form of resistance. But the great thing about memory is that wasn't kind of kept in. All that was kept was what was happening. And this is such a key thing to start to realize, that just how we experience things in our most favorite memories. Forget the content. That relationship we have with reality in those favorite memories can be a guide for how we start experiencing now. And that was my journey, that in the beginning, those memories would just come and there would be this sense of nostalgia. But then this kind of strange thing started to happen. I would start to feel nostalgia for things that had just happened. I would start to feel that for things that had just happened until eventually I was able to experience the exact same thing to what was happening now. And the only thing that had changed is I'd stopped resisting what was happening. And because I stopped resisting, I can appreciate what's here. I can see the wonder in what's here. That the less we resist, the more dreamlike, the more precious all of this becomes. Not as a temporary thing, but as just as how it is. That the thing that makes our life so difficult is the resistance. Take away the resistance, you take away the problem. That it's never been, we think we resist and that somehow that will change the content to the way we want it to be and then we'll be okay. That doesn't work. That's never going to work because we don't control the content. The content is always changing. As you say in Buddhism, it's impermanent. And we're not in a position to control it anyway. But what we do control is how we relate to all of that. And the most important thing of all is to stop resisting it. As simple as that. Just stop resisting. And in that way, memory, good memories, what I actually found is eventually all memory can become good memory. Because even the worst experiences, we can see that it can be all be redeemed. There can be redemption for everything. So, even if it's only the opportunity for compassion. And that's a big part of that as well. But maybe time that we could discuss that in a different video. But the main thing here is to kind of see how those good memories can teach us about how to be now, how to relate to now, how to relate to now without resistance. So I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you again.